Hi, welcome to Paralegal Student Mastery of Lexis, Module Number 1, An Introduction to Lexis. I am Marva Woods, the Lexis Paralegal Program Manager, and today we really have 3 objectives. First, I will go over navigating the Lexis system. Then I will show you 3 ways to start a research project on Lexis. And throughout this module, I will discuss several time and cost-saving features of the Lexis platform. As you can see, I've signed on to the Lexis research system. I want to begin by going over the basics of navigating the Lexis system and getting started with your research. We're going to start by looking at the bar along the top of the screen. In the far left-hand corner, you will see 9 dots, which we call the product switcher. If you click on the product switcher, you will have access to several other Lexis products that your paralegal school has subscribed to. Now, I've signed on with my Lexis ID, so you may not have access to some of the products that I have access to. It really depends on what your paralegal school has subscribed to. Next to the product switcher, you will see where it says Lexis. This is a really nice little time-saving tip because no matter where you're at on the Lexis system, so you can be deep into your research on a different screen. And if you click on where it says Lexis, it will always take you back to this first screen, this home screen. You'll see where it says Client None. This is extremely important to remember for when you start working. Let's say you're working at a law firm. Well, it's extremely important before you begin any actual research that you go into Client and you identify the client who you are researching for. You can also include a little research description just to kind of help you keep a note on why you were conducting this particular research. But once you set the client, you will now see at the top, it shows the client that I just identified. This is important because now any research I conduct on Lexis will be tracked under this client ID. That's important for several reasons. For one, your firm may be billing back a portion of the research costs to the client. And so by you identifying the client, your firm will know who to bill the research costs to. Next to client, you will see a couple of buttons that will help you stay organized and save time during your research. First is folders and then history. I will talk about both of those more later in this module. Next to history, you'll see help. There are a lot of topics in which you can get help for as you become more and more familiar with the Lexis system, but I do want to make note that in addition to getting help through this button, when you're conducting your Lexis research and you're on different screens, always keep an eye in the upper right-hand corner because there will be a help link, help icon. You will have that ability to get help throughout your Lexis research. And finally, we can go to the More button. More provides you access to a few additional features that you will become more familiar with the more you use Lexis. Settings is a really good one because you have several options for how you view your documents on Lexis that you can set. For instance, how many documents do you want to see in a results list? Do you want to see 10 or 50? And the last thing I want to point out under More is live chat support. Live chat support is an excellent way for you to reach Lexis customer service, a Lexis research assistant, without leaving the Lexis system. So it's just a way for you to chat, just like you would chat on other websites with a representative. In this way, you can get help with formulating searches, trying to find particular sources, etc. So that's the bar along the top. Finally, I want to point out at the very bottom of the screen, you will see customer support options that not only includes the live chat support, which I just mentioned, but also the Lexis customer service 800 number. That 1-800 number will connect you to Lexis customer service, and they are available 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you never have to feel like you are all on your own with your Lexis research. Now we're going to move into some of the ways to get started with your research on Lexis. As I go through these next few tips, please keep in mind our fact pattern that we're going to take a look at today. Does a seller of real estate have to disclose any ghosts or hauntings on the property being sold? In other words, do you have to let that buyer know they're buying a haunted house? So just keep that hypothetical in mind. But of course, getting ready to start your research, you would sign on to Lexis, as I have already signed on. Considering this hypothetical situation, I'm going to discuss 3 ways to start a research project on Lexis. First, you can start from a particular document that you've been given. If you already have been told that a particular case or statute is relevant, you can start from that document. You can browse for relevant results by topic. And finally, you can just create a search query to find relevant documents. We're going to briefly take a look at all 3 of these ways to start a research project. Okay, the first method of getting started with your research is when you have been given a relevant case or statute or some type of document. Don't recreate the wheel. If you have been told that a particular document may be relevant, start off by pulling up that document and taking a look. Now, we have been told that a particular case, Paul's graph v. Long Island, is relevant. So we want to pull that case. You have a couple of different ways that you can pull up a particular document on Lexis. You can start typing the name of the document, like I did, Paul's graph. And notice as you start typing the name, the system is going to suggest several different documents that you may be looking for. And of course, when you see your document, just click right on it. But before clicking on it, I do want to mention that you could also retrieve your case by citation. It is very simple. Just you can enter in the citation number. We give you a lot of flexibility with how you enter in your citations. You can put spaces or not, punctuation or not. And so it's really flexible with how you enter that citation. But once again, if you already have the name of the case, you can just go down and retrieve the case. I do want to mention one more thing about citation formats. Sometimes you may not know the exact way to abbreviate your citation on Lexis. Let's say that you are looking for a case in the United States Reporter, but you don't know how to abbreviate the United States Reporter. Well, you could end up wasting a lot of time just guessing. And so we have a great option a little further down called Get a Doc Assistance. And if you click on Get a Doc Assistance, this really easy template will pop up where you just have to let the system know what type of document are you looking for, what jurisdiction are you looking for, and then the system will list all the available citation formats based on the source you're looking for. So if you did want to pull a document from the United States Report, you could just click on the citation formatted link along the right-hand side and then enter in your volume and page numbers. I'm going to click home in the upper left-hand corner to go back to the first screen because I do want to go ahead and pull up that Paul's graph case. Because remember, we are talking about ways to start your research. We just have this one case so far, but ultimately we're looking for additional relevant documents. We're looking to get a better understanding of this case and find more similar cases. So the first thing I want to go to, if you scroll into your cases a little bit, you'll come to a section called Case Summary. This is an addition to the case. This is not an official part of the case. In other words, if you go to the book, the actual reporter, and open it up to Paul's graph, you will not see this case summary. Lexis attorney editors have added this case summary to the cases on Lexis to help you get a quick picture of what this case is all about. The case summaries have 3 components. The procedural posture tells you how your case got where it is. So was it at a lower court? What did the parties do to get to this stage in litigation? Next is the overview, the facts of the case, without all that legalese, point blank, Here are the facts. Here's what happened in the case. And then the outcome. What did the court decide? What was the ruling? What was the holding? In other words, what was the outcome? This case summary is an excellent way for you to get a quick idea of what this case is all about and to help you decide, do I need to go down and read that whole opinion? And when I do read the opinion, I have this heads up as to what the case is going to be about, so it'll be a lot easier as I do read through that opinion. Now, the next thing I want to point out are the Lexis head notes. The Lexis head notes are also added to the Lexis documents by our Lexis attorney editors. The head notes, it's a list of black letter law, the main legal points from this case. Head notes are very useful for several reasons. If you read a head note topic and you really like that topic is relevant, you can click the head note number to the left of the head note and it'll pop you down into the opinion where that head note came from. So you can read from the opinion even more about that head note. Head notes are also helpful for another reason. Going back to our one of our main purposes of today is getting started with our research, digging deeper. If you really like this head note topic, there is a feature at the end of each head note called More Like This Head Note. This is a huge time saver. What More Like This Head Note is doing, it is running a search automatically behind the scenes and finding other cases on Lexis with the same or similar head note topic. And remember what head notes are. Head notes are the main legal points. So that's saying that now you have this list of cases that also have the same or similar legal point in it. These are additional potential relevant cases, and you really haven't had to do much when it comes to the research process. So definitely remember More Like This head note. I'm going to go back into Paul's graph to show you another way to quickly expand your research once you have found one relevant case, and that's looking at the panel along the right-hand side. Try to get in the habit of whenever you are looking at a document on Lexis, look at the panel on the right. What we're doing with this panel on the right is we're giving you additional information, additional features, additional tips to help you better understand the document that you are reading. For instance, finding other related content, other documents that mention Paul's graph and mention the issues from Paul's graph. So that's an easy way to find other relevant documents. As you are looking at different documents on Lexis, the options you have in this panel along the right will differ. This document and about this document has some of the things that we saw in the last document, like find references to this document, but also look at all of these related court materials. So these are briefs and pleadings and motions that the attorneys involved in this case filed with the courthouse. Also, you see that this case has some topic summaries associated with it. Let's go ahead and take a look at topic summaries, and I strongly encourage you, whenever you see any topic summaries available, take the time to click View Reports. What topic summaries are? Topic summaries are summaries of one or more key legal topic from whatever document you were viewing. So one of the legal topics from that case that we were just viewing, joint and several liability, you'll see this topic summary report. All topic summary reports include the same information, the definition of this topic, other key cases dealing with this topic. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. You're quickly pulling additional cases that may be relevant to you. The elements of this topic, secondary sources, statutes that deal with this topic. Once again, you are pulling these citations, you're pulling additional research without having to do additional research. In the standards of review with yet another case that may be relevant to our issue. I'm going to click in the bottom right hand corner, click on that little arrow to pop us to the top, but don't forget about topic summary reports. Whenever you see that little yellow sheet of paper, that's indicating that there's a topic summary report available. And once again, just a really great way to get that one-stop shop of information involving this topic, as well as links to other relevant documents. So that was the first way to start a research project, when you have a document to start from and you can expand your research from that one document. The second way to start a research project is to browse for relevant results by topic. So let's take a look at that. On Lexis, there are a couple of quick ways to browse for relevant results by topic. Explore content allows you to explore what available sources are on Lexis, and is broken down by content, jurisdiction, practice area, etc. Let's say right now you're looking for cases. Well, you could click on content cases, and the system is going to break down cases into several different categories. So what's nice about this is any search terms that you enter at the top will only search in the cases on Lexis. Explore content is a nice way for you to get started with your research, especially if you're not yet familiar with all of the different sources available on Lexis. I want to mention one more thing under Explore Content. Practice centers are amazing one-stop shop based on jurisdiction or practice area. Let's just pop into one of the practice areas, and all the practice centers are laid out the same basic way. What you're getting is you're getting direct access to the Lexis sources that are directly relevant to whatever practice area or jurisdiction you selected. So instead of weeding through all of the Lexis stuff, you're getting access to cases specifically dealing with real property, which is what we selected. You're getting statutes and legislative materials dealing with real property, administrative materials, secondary materials. Over on the right-hand side, you're getting news, all dealing specifically with real property. So this is a great way to kind of weed out a lot of the material that you don't need for a particular research project. Note with the practice centers, you can also set a practice center as your research start page. So next to the practice center name at the top, you'll see the little house, and that's how you can make it your research homepage, which will be a time saver if you do find yourself liking the practice centers and wanting to start your research from the practice centers a lot. So that's the second way I wanted to discuss to start a research project, using Explore Content to look for relevant results by topic. Now, the last way that I want to discuss to start a research project is to create a search. When you want to create a search on Lexis, the most important thing to understand and be comfortable with is how to put together good search terms. As you'll notice, I've typed in a natural language search. Does a seller of real estate have to disclose any ghosts or hauntings on the property being sold? For natural language, you can type in a sentence, a list of terms, a few phrases. Natural language is extremely easy. There's no special format needed. The problem with natural language search is that you're leaving it up to the Lexis system to decide how close should your terms be to each other. And often with a natural language search, your results need a lot of tweaking. You have to weed through a lot of results that are not as relevant as others. So I strongly encourage you to force yourself to be comfortable with using terms and connectors, also referred to as Boolean searching. Now I've entered in a search the same research hypothetical dealing with our haunted house, but this time I entered it as a terms and connectors search. So I'm telling the system exactly how close my different terms must be to each other. And I will find that my results are much more precise. Before I run this search, I do want to point out this advanced search link. Advanced search is extremely helpful as you are getting familiar with terms and connectors. If you go to the advanced search screen, you will see along the right-hand side, you can quickly get a list of all the connectors, a description, an example of those connectors. Along the left-hand side, you can enter in your terms and the system will help formulate your terms and connector search. So that advanced search feature is extremely useful, especially if you're not yet that familiar with terms and connectors searching. I'm going to go ahead and run our search. Now that I've run this search, I want to talk about a couple of Lexis tools that will really help you stay organized and minimize the amount of additional research that you will have to do. One is folders. As you find relevant documents, you need to hang on to them. You need to store them. And the best way to do that is creating folders. Folders are something you create. You can have as many folders as you want, name them whatever you want, and stick as many documents into your folders as you want. Now, the more comfortable and familiar you get with folders, you will start using additional features like sharing your entire folder with someone else at your school, or if you're working, someone else at the firm. And so folders stay forever until you delete the items from your folder. Once you have created folders, you can go to the top where it says folders, and that will list all of your folders, and you can easily get access to everything you've put in your folders. So remember this, because the last thing you want to do is waste time by doing some great researching today, and then 2 weeks from now have to sit down and research the same thing again because you didn't hang on to all those documents. The last time-saving tool that I want to talk about today is history. All of your research on Lexis is automatically saved for a total of 90 days under history. And you'll see that all of your searches and documents that you opened and documents that you put into folders are automatically listed in history. You can filter your history on the left-hand side, which is very useful, especially if you have a lot in your history like I do. You can also view your history in a different way. In addition to seeing your history as a list, you can see your history in a visual research map. And if you are, a very visual learner, this could be really helpful to you. Let's go down to the case that we looked at a little bit earlier, Paul's graph. And you'll become familiar with these research map icons. But with Paul's graph, this is showing us that we ran a search for the name Paul's graph, the case, and then we looked at our particular cases, list of cases, and opened up the one document, Paul's graph. And so it's just a nice way for you to quickly see exactly what steps you went through. This one is where we did even more, where we used the more like this head note feature, and we clicked through Paul's graph and opened the NAACP case. And from that, we opened up that topic summary report. The research map in history is helpful for several reasons. One key reason I find it so useful is if you've been doing a lot of research and you get to the point that you're like, oh my goodness, have I already done this particular search? What else do I need to do? This is a wonderful way for you to quickly see what research you have and have not already completed. And that creating a search using natural language or preferably terms and connectors is the last way that I wanted to discuss today to start a research project. One thing that we also did today is I talked about several time and cost saving features on Lexis. Just as a reminder, we talked about using the research map in history to save a ton of time and not recreating the wheel and running searches that you already ran within the last 90 days. I talked about work folders where you can store whatever documents you want in folders and they will remain in those folders forever until you delete them. We talked about the practice centers on Lexis, which are those one-stop shops based on jurisdiction or practice area that gives you all of the Lexis sources pertaining to that jurisdiction or practice area on that one screen. And finally, we talked about explore content to start your research, looking for results based on topic. Well, that concludes Module 1, an introduction to Lexis. Please remember that you have a lot of options for research assistance. You can call Lexis Customer Support at 1-800-543-6862, and they're available 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can also contact Lexis customer service via live chat support while you're on Lexis and just chat with the representative. And then finally, on the right-hand side of the screen, you can always reach out to me via email if you have any questions or problems. And you can also schedule an individual one-on-one meeting with me via Calendly. So what do you do now? Your next step is to go back to LexisNexis University, select your account at the top, and then select your classes. You will now see an exam for module number 1 is available. And once you pass the exam, meaning that you have to get at least 80% correct, once you pass the exam, you can return to the LexisNexis University screen to download your certificate of completion. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.